He was a quiet man, a father, a teacher, but behind the calm exterior was one of the most terrifying serial killers in history, a man who stalked the shadows of Soviet Russia for over a decade. This is the harrowing true story of Andrei Chikatilo, the Rostov Ripper. Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo was born on October 16, 1936, in the Ukrainian SSR during a time of mass starvation under Stalin's rule. Known as the Holodomor, this famine claimed millions of lives. Chikatilo's family lived in a one-room hut and often went without food. Some believe this extreme deprivation left a permanent scar on his psyche. His mother claimed his older brother was kidnapped and eaten by starving neighbors. Though historians debate this, still, the suggestion of cannibalism, even as folklore, foreshadowed his horrific crimes decades later. As a boy, Chikatilo was shy, intelligent, but socially isolated. He was bullied for his appearance and chronic bedwetting. As he grew older, he developed severe sexual dysfunction. He struggled with impotence, something that deeply affected his self-worth and later became a twisted trigger in his crimes. In adulthood, Chikatilo tried to lead a normal life. He worked as a telephone engineer, later as a school teacher. He married and had 2 children, but he was hiding disturbing compulsions. Students complained about his inappropriate behavior, and he was quietly dismissed from several jobs. He began spending time in train stations and bus stops, searching for vulnerable victims, usually young girls, boys, or women, traveling alone. What followed would become a campaign of murder that paralyzed a nation. In December 1978, Chikatilo lured 9-year-old Lena Zakotnova into an abandoned building in Shakhty. There, he attempted to rape her, but when he couldn't perform, he stabbed her repeatedly, releasing what he later described as a wave of euphoria. Her body was found in a river. Tragically, an innocent man, Alexander Kravchenko, was convicted and executed for Lena's murder. Meanwhile, the real killer disappeared and returned with increasing brutality. Between 1981 and 1990, Chikatilo murdered at least 52 people. His victims included street children, young women, and runaways, those least likely to be missed quickly. He would lure them to forests or secluded areas, then unleash his rage. Most victims were stabbed 20 and 40 times. Eyes were gouged out, genitals mutilated, internal organs removed. Some were cannibalized. Many had bite marks. And yet, despite these grotesque signatures, police couldn't find a pattern. The investigation was hampered from the start. The idea of a serial killer was considered un-Soviet, something that happened only in capitalist societies. Local police were discouraged from sharing information across jurisdictions. Hundreds were interrogated. Dozens were arrested. Some even confessed under duress. But the real killer kept slipping through the cracks, partly because his job as a supply clerk required frequent travel, perfect cover for his crimes. Frustrated, investigators turned to psychological profiling. Dr. Alexander Bukhanovsky, a psychiatrist, was brought in. He described the killer as a repressed, socially awkward man, possibly impotent, eerily accurate. In time, Chikatilo would even confess to becoming sexually aroused by the act of stabbing itself. Police began surveillance of train stations and eventually spotted a man acting suspiciously. It was Chikatilo. He had blood on his hands and dirt under his fingernails. When arrested in 1990, he confessed to everything in disturbing detail. In 1992, Chikatilo stood trial for 52 murders. The courtroom was a media circus. He was kept in a steel cage to protect him from enraged families. His behavior was erratic, shouting, exposing himself, and even singing. But his guilt was undeniable. He recounted every murder with chilling precision. He was declared sane and sentenced to death. On February 14, 1994, Andrei Chikatilo was executed with a single gunshot to the back of the head. No final words, no remorse. His crime shook the Soviet public's faith in their government's ability to protect them. He exposed the failures of a secretive system and the dark truths that can thrive in silence. This was the story of Andrei Chikatilo, a man shaped by trauma, driven by violence, and remembered as one of the most horrific killers of the 20th century. Andrei Chikatilo took at least 52 lives. Their names, not his, deserve to be remembered. If you found this story informative, please like, comment, and subscribe. What true crime case should we explore next?